The aliens had been using Earth as their garbage dump for over 300 years. They came in huge ships that darkened the sky, dropping tons of broken machines, old computers, and strange devices onto the land below. Humans had almost died out after fighting too many wars over the last resources. The few who survived could only watch as their home world became covered in alien trash. The aliens didn't care about humans. They saw them as simple animals, too dumb to understand technology. They never bothered to talk to the humans or ask permission. They just kept dumping their junk. June had once been an engineer who worked in space, fixing satellites and space stations. Now he lived alone in an old shipping container surrounded by mountains of alien garbage. But where others saw worthless junk, June saw treasure. Every day, he walked through the scrap piles, picking up odd pieces and bringing them back to his workshop. He had built special tools to take apart the alien devices without breaking them. Slowly, he learned how they worked. "Look at this," he told himself one day, holding up a small silver box with blinking lights. "This is part of their communication system. If I can figure out how it works, maybe we can listen to their transmissions." At first, people in the nearby settlement laughed at June. They called him crazy for wasting time on alien junk when he could be hunting or farming. But June didn't care. He kept working, day after day, taking things apart and putting them back together in new ways. After a year, June managed to build a small device that could power his workshop using energy from an alien power cell. When the lights came on for the first time, a few curious people from the settlement came to see. "How did you do that?" asked Sujai, a young woman who had studied electronics before the world fell apart. "We haven't had reliable power in decades." June showed her how he had connected the alien power cell to human wiring. "The principles are the same," he explained. "They just use different materials, better ones." Word spread, and more people came to see June's workshop. Some stayed to help. Suji became his first assistant. Then came Taeho, a former computer programmer, and Min, who had been a physics teacher. They formed a small team, each person focusing on different types of alien technology. Suji worked on power systems, Taeho studied the alien equivalent of computers, and Min tried to understand their materials and how they were made. "They think we're too stupid to understand their cast-offs," June told his growing team one evening as they sat around a light powered by alien technology. "But they've given us everything we need to join them among the stars, if we're clever enough to piece it together." The team grew as more people saw the value in what June was doing. Soon, 20 people worked in shifts, cataloging parts, testing devices, and building new things from the alien trash. June's biggest breakthrough came when he found what looked like a broken engine. It took months to understand how it worked, but when he finally got it running, it floated above the ground, defying gravity. "This changes everything," he said to his team. "We can build vehicles that fly, maybe even ships that could leave Earth." As their understanding grew, June realized they needed to be more organized. They set up a system to sort the alien junk as it arrived. Different teams focused on different technologies: power, engines, computers, materials, weapons, and communications. One day, a massive ship appeared in the sky, an Arcturian trade vessel coming to dump more waste. Usually, humans hid when the ships came, fearing the aliens might decide to get rid of them too. But June had been waiting for this opportunity. Hidden in the junkyard, he had placed a device of his own making, a scanner cobbled together from alien parts. As the ship opened its massive doors and tons of trash tumbled down to Earth, the scanner recorded information about every piece: what it was made of, what it might have been used for, and how it was constructed. The aliens never noticed the small human device. They didn't expect the primitive humans to have technology that could interface with their own. They simply dumped their load and left, not realizing they had just given humans the keys to understanding their entire technological system. When June downloaded the scanner's data, he could hardly believe what they had captured. "Look at this," he told Suji, pointing to his screen. We now have a complete inventory of everything they just dumped. And not just that. The scanner picked up signals from inside their ship. We can see how their systems work together. That night, as his team celebrated their success, Joan walked outside and looked up at the stars. For the first time in centuries, those stars didn't seem completely out of reach. They think we're just scavengers, he said quietly to himself. They don't realize they've given us everything we need to build our own future. In the years that followed, June's small workshop grew into a large complex. Hundreds, then thousands of people joined the effort. They built their own tools, their own power systems, and eventually their own small flying craft, all from the aliens' garbage. And all the while, the aliens kept dumping more and more advanced technology on Earth, never noticing that with each delivery, humans were getting closer to joining them in space, not as servants or pets, but as equals. 5 years had passed since June started studying alien trash. What began as one man's curious hobby had grown into something much bigger. The junk piles that once covered large parts of Earth were now organized work sites. People called them extraction operations, places where humans took apart alien garbage and learned its secrets. Captain Han walked through Scrapyard 7, the biggest work site in what used to be North America. Before the aliens came, Han had been a Navy commander. Now, he led over 3,000 workers who sorted through alien technology every day. The morning sun reflected off piles of metal sorted by type and use. Workers in protective gear moved between stations, carrying strange devices to different processing areas. What once looked like chaos now ran like a well-oiled machine. "Captain, the morning briefing starts in 5 minutes," said Jin, Han's assistant. He carried a tablet made from repurposed alien parts. Han nodded and headed toward the main building. Once an old warehouse, now the command center for Scrapyard 7. Inside, team leaders gathered around a large table displaying 3D images of their latest findings. "Let's begin," Han said as he entered. The room quieted down. "Dr. Minna, you have something to report." Dr. Minna stood up. Before the world changed, she had been a university physics professor. Now she led the propulsion research team. Her eyes lit up as she activated the display to show engine designs. "We've finally cracked their propulsion systems," she announced. The room filled with excited whispers. "We understand exactly how their ships move through space." Han leaned forward. This was big news. For years, humans had been trying to understand how alien ships could travel between stars. "Show us," he said. Mina swiped across her tablet, and a 3D model appeared above the table. It showed an engine unlike anything humans had built before. "It uses a form of gravity manipulation," she explained. "The principles are actually simpler than we expected. And here's the really interesting part. We've improved them." "Improved alien technology?" asked Sung, the materials expert. "How?" Mina smiled. "Their designs are very efficient, but their materials science is surprisingly lacking. They use standard metals when specialized alloys would work better. We can build engines that outperform theirs by at least 30%. Han studied the schematics carefully. If this was true, it changed everything. Humans wouldn't just be copying alien technology, they would be making it better. "How soon until we can implement this?" he asked. "The first prototype is already running," Minna replied. "We've been testing it in the old aircraft hangar. It works, Captain. It really works." The room erupted in cheers and applause. This was what they had been working toward for years, not just understanding alien technology, but mastering it. When the noise died down, Minna cleared her throat. "But there's something else you should see." She pulled up another file on the display. "These components we've been finding in the northern sector. We've finally identified them." The screen showed strange devices with complex inner workings. "They're weapons," Minna said quietly. "Advanced energy weapons, targeting systems, defensive shields. Lots of them." The room fell silent. "Are you certain?" Han asked. Completely. My team has assembled several working examples. She expanded the display to show more designs. Apparently, military technology gets outdated in their civilization too. They're throwing away last year's weapon models. Han stared at the designs, his mind racing. They've been dropping warships in our backyard. Piece by piece, Minna nodded. And we're putting them back together. Han dismissed the meeting early, asking only Dr. Minna and his top advisors to stay behind. Once the room cleared, he locked the door. How powerful are these weapons? He asked. Minna brought up test results on the screen. Based on our tests, a single one of these energy cannons could destroy a small city. And we found hundreds of them. Han paced around the table. The aliens have no idea what they've given us, do they? They still think we're primitive. They've never bothered to check on us, said Yoon, the head of security. Their ships dump the trash and leave. They don't scan for technology or monitor our progress. Han stopped pacing and faced the group. We need to accelerate our shipbuilding program. If we have their weapons and propulsion systems, we can build vessels that can leave Earth and defend it. With the improved engines, we could build ships faster and better than anything we thought possible. Minna added. How many people know about the weapons? Han asked. Just my core team, about 15 people. Han nodded. Let's keep it that way for now. Continue assembling and testing, but keep it quiet. We don't know how the aliens would react if they discovered what we're doing. That night, Han couldn't sleep. He stood outside his quarters, looking up at the stars. Somewhere up there, the aliens continued their lives, unaware that the primitive humans they'd been using as garbage collectors had learned to use their discarded technology. For 5 years, humans had been scavenging, learning, and building. Now they were on the verge of having their own fleet, built from garbage, but potentially more advanced than what their unwitting benefactors possessed. They never should have underestimated us, Han whispered to the night sky. They'll learn soon enough. The next morning, Han called an emergency meeting with leaders from all 12 major scrapyards around the world. It was time to coordinate their efforts. Humanity would build not just ships, but a fleet. And when they were ready, the aliens who had turned Earth into a junkyard would discover just how dangerous their trash had become. The aliens who called themselves the Galactic Confederation didn't pay much attention to Earth. They sent ships to check on the planet once every few years, but they never stayed long. These survey ships noticed that humans were working together more and organizing the jump piles, but the aliens just thought humans were forming simple tribes. They didn't think humans were smart enough to be a threat. On the alien homeworld, in a tall shining tower, an alien named Doc sat at his desk. He was one of the managers in charge of trash disposal for the whole Confederation. Doc had scaly blue skin and 4 arms that moved quickly over his control panels. He was having a normal day until an urgent message came through. Sir, we have an emergency report from the Earth Disposal Fleet, said his assistant. Doc clicked a button, and the message appeared on his screen. As he read it, his yellow eyes grew wide with shock. He immediately called his boss. Administrator Tech rushed into the room minutes later. This better be important, Doc, he said, his mandibles clicking together as he spoke. 3 of our disposal ships have vanished near Earth, Doc said. Just disappeared. The 4th ship barely escaped. Tech's mandibles clicked faster, showing his agitation. Impossible. The primitive humans couldn't possibly have done this. The surviving ship sent back this footage, Doc said, playing a video on the main screen. The video showed several sleek, silver ships rising from Earth's surface. They didn't look primitive at all. They moved smoothly and quickly, surrounding the Confederation disposal ships. The strange vessels appeared to be made from pieces of different technologies patched together, but they worked perfectly. Impossible. Tech chittered, his mandibles clicking in agitation. Humans lack the intellectual capacity to understand our technology, let alone modify it. The evidence is right here, sir, Doc said, pointing to the screen. These are human-made ships using our discarded technology. Did they say anything? Tech asked. Doc nodded and played the audio message that had been broadcast to the disposal fleet. Earth is no longer your dumping ground. Tech paced around the room, all four of his arms moving in agitation. This is unacceptable. We've been using Earth as a disposal site for centuries. These primitives can't just decide to stop us. He made a decision quickly. Send military ships to Earth. A small battle group should be enough to crush whatever resistance these humans think they can offer. Within hours, 5 Confederation warships left for Earth. They were not the newest or best ships in the fleet. The aliens didn't think they needed to send their top vessels to deal with humans. The commanders expected an easy victory. Meanwhile, on Earth, in a hidden base under what had once been the Rocky Mountains, humans prepared for the aliens' return. They had been building their fleet in secret for years, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. In the main control room, Jun stood looking at a large screen showing all of Earth's defensive positions. He had aged in the 10 years since he first started studying alien technology, but his eyes still held the same curiosity and determination. They'll send warships, he said to the others in the room. We need to be ready. The fleet is prepared, said Admiral Kang, who now led Earth's defense fleet. All 27 vessels are in position and fully crewed. Kang had once been a simple fisherman before joining Jun's team. Now he commanded humanity's first space fleet. His flagship, the ESV Phoenix, was the largest and most powerful of Earth's ships. It contained technology from dozens of alien civilizations, all modified and improved by human engineers. How long until they arrive? Jun asked. Our long-range sensors show they'll be here in about 6 hours, replied Ji, the head of communications. Then we have time to review the battle plan once more, said Kang. Everyone to the war room. 6 hours later, Kang stood on the bridge of the Phoenix. Through the large viewing window, he could see Earth below, its surface now transformed by organized extraction sites that had replaced the random jump piles of the past. Admiral, 5 Confederation warships have entered Earth orbit, reported his tactical officer, Sung. Kang nodded. Bring all weapons systems online. Launch our fleet. All across Earth, hidden hangar doors opened. The human fleet rose from their hiding places, ships made from the very garbage the aliens had dumped on Earth. Each vessel was unique, combining technologies from different alien sources, yet all moved with surprising grace and power. On the bridge of the Phoenix, Kang watched as the alien warships came into view. They were larger than Earth's ships, but moved more slowly. They're scanning us, Sung reported. Their weapons are powering up. Kang smiled. Let's show them what humanity has learned from their trash. The Phoenix surged forward, leading Earth's fleet. The other ships followed in perfect formation, executing maneuvers that the alien commanders had never seen before. Human pilots had been training for this moment for years. The Confederation ships fired first, energy beams reaching out toward the human vessels. But the Phoenix and its companion ships moved too quickly, dodging the attacks with ease. Return fire, Kang ordered. Earth's ships released a barrage of energy weapons, weapons that had once been thrown away as outdated by the aliens, now rebuilt and improved by human engineers. The Confederation commanders were shocked. These were not primitive vessels. These ships moved like dancers and hit like warriors. And worst of all, they used technology that the aliens recognized as their own, but somehow better, faster, more efficient. How is this possible? The alien commander asked as his ship rocked from another direct hit. These are just humans. In just 30 minutes, 2 alien warships had been disabled, their engines damaged beyond repair. The other 3 tried to retreat, but Earth's faster ships cut off their escape. Kang opened a communication channel. This is Admiral Kang of Earth's defense fleet. Your ships are surrounded. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. The alien commander had no choice but to surrender. For the first time in centuries, humans were not just victims or scavengers. They had become warriors, engineers, and now victors. As the alien ships lowered their shields in surrender, Kang looked at his crew. "Today marks the beginning of a new chapter for humanity," he said. "Today, we take our place among the stars." The battle lasted less than an hour. The alien ships had come to Earth thinking they would easily defeat the humans. Instead, they found themselves facing weapons and defenses they didn't recognize. These were made from their own thrown-away technology, but the humans had changed and improved everything in ways the aliens never thought possible. 2 Confederation ships were destroyed. 3 others surrendered. The humans had won without losing a single ship. Word of the defeat traveled fast through space. Soon, every world in the Galactic Confederation was talking about it. The primitive humans, creatures they had used as galactic garbage collectors, had not only learned to use advanced technology, but had made it better. On the Confederation capital world, the High Council met in an emergency session. 60 alien leaders from different worlds gathered in a huge, circular room. They sat at curved desks arranged in rings, with the most important leaders in the center. "How did we not see this coming?" demanded the High Counselor, banging his fist on the table. He was tall with purple skin and 3 eyes that blinked in sequence when he was angry. Right now, all 3 eyes were blinking very fast. "We never bothered to look," replied the science director, a small green alien with 6 arms and large round glasses on her bulbous face. "We assumed their capacity to learn was limited. We were wrong." She touched a control panel, and images of the human ships appeared in the air above the council chamber. "They've taken technologies from a dozen different species and integrated them in novel ways," she continued. "Some of these innovations are remarkable." "Remarkable," shouted another council member. "They destroyed 2 of our warships. 3 more surrendered," added another voice. "Our crews are being held prisoner on Earth." The room erupted into shouts and arguments. Some council members wanted to send a larger fleet to crush the humans. Others suggested trying to talk with them. "Silence," commanded the High Counselor. The room quieted. "Before we decide anything, we need more information. Science Director, tell us exactly what the humans have accomplished." The Science Director stood and walked to the center of the room. "Based on the data from our surviving ships, the humans have been systematically studying our discarded technology for at least 10 years. They started with simple devices and worked their way up to more complex systems." She showed more images, pictures of Earth's scrapyards transformed into organized work sites. "They've become experts at combining different technologies. For example, they've taken propulsion systems from Arcturian ships, power cores from Zeta vessels, and control systems from our own craft to create engines that are 30% more efficient than anything we currently use." "How is that possible?" asked a council member. "Creativity," she replied. "Humans have an unusual ability to see connections between unrelated things. They aren't bound by our traditional thinking. When they see a problem, they find new solutions instead of using established methods." "Are they a threat?" asked the High Counselor. The Science Director paused before answering. "They could be. They now have a fleet of warships built from our discarded weaponry. But according to the messages they sent to our captured crews, they don't want war. They simply want us to stop using their planet as a dumping ground." "Unacceptable," shouted another counselor. "We have been using Earth for waste disposal for centuries. Where will we put our garbage now?" While the Confederation Council argued, Earth was changing. The victory against the alien fleet had united humans like never before. Every scrapyard around the world had been converted into a shipyard. Thousands of people worked day and night, building more vessels of all sizes. There were small, fast fighters that could zip through space like dragonflies. There were medium-sized patrol ships that carried powerful weapons. And there were massive carriers that could transport hundreds of people across the stars. Each ship combined the best parts of alien technology, refined through human creativity. No 2 ships looked exactly alike, but all of them worked better than they should have. The aliens had thrown away pieces they thought were useless, But humans found ways to make these pieces work together. In a special facility near what had once been Seoul, Ambassador Tai prepared for humanity's first diplomatic mission to the Confederation capital. He had once been a language teacher before the world changed. Now he would speak for all of Earth. Todd practiced his speech in front of a mirror. He wore a simple black uniform with Earth's new symbol, a phoenix rising from a pile of scrap, on his chest. "We don't want war," he said clearly, making sure to pronounce each word perfectly. "But we will never be treated as lesser beings again." His assistant, Sue, watched him practice. "Do you think they'll listen?" "They have to," Ted replied. "They now know we can fight, but we'd rather find a peaceful solution." "And if they refuse?" Sue asked. Todd looked out the window at the shipyard below. Workers were completing the final touches on the diplomatic vessel that would take him to the Confederation capital. It was Earth's most impressive ship yet, sleek and beautiful, despite being made from what the aliens considered trash. "If they refuse to respect us," Ta said quietly, "we'll have to show them more of what humans can do." The next day, Ta boarded the diplomatic vessel, named the ESV Harmony. A crew of 20 accompanied him, including scientists, engineers, and security personnel. As the ship rose from Earth's surface, Ta looked down at his home planet. The junk piles that had once covered large areas were now organized facilities. Humans had taken the aliens' garbage and turned it into opportunity. "Course set for the Confederation capital," reported the pilot. "Proceed," Ta ordered. He touched the phoenix symbol on his chest. "Let's show the galaxy who humans really are." As the Harmony jumped to faster-than-light travel, news of its departure reached the Confederation Council. The aliens who had once seen humans as primitives now waited nervously to meet with them as equals. The species that had been underestimated for centuries was about to take its place among the stars. 10 years had passed since humans first fought the aliens in Earth's orbit. Much had changed in that time. What had started as a desperate defense of their home planet had turned into something much bigger. Earth was no longer just a tiny blue dot where primitive humans lived. It was now the center of what everyone called the Human Alliance. Earth had signed friendship papers with 17 different alien species. Some of these aliens had once been part of the Galactic Confederation, but now preferred to work with humans instead. Humans had become famous throughout the galaxy for their special skill, taking old technology and making it better. In the past, aliens had dumped their broken machines on Earth thinking they were worthless. Now those same aliens came to Earth to buy ships and devices made from the very garbage they had thrown away. The biggest change was in Earth's space stations, where once there had been nothing but empty sky. Now 5 massive stations orbited the planet. The largest was Earth Space Station Alpha. It looked like a giant wheel turning slowly in space, with ships coming and going at all hours. On the top level of Station Alpha was an observation deck with huge windows that looked out into space. Admiral June stood there, watching as 20 ships prepared to leave Earth. His hair had turned gray over the years, and lines marked his face, but his eyes still held the same sharp intelligence. "All ships report ready for departure, Admiral," said a young officer at a nearby control panel. June nodded. "Tell them they may proceed when ready." Next to him stood Captain Jin, a younger officer who had risen quickly through the ranks. Jin had been just a child when June first started studying alien technology in his makeshift workshop. "They look beautiful, don't they?" Jin said, watching the ships move into formation. Each vessel gleamed in the sunlight, sleek and powerful. "Yes, they do," June agreed. The fleet was headed to a distant star system called Nexus. Once part of the Confederation, the Nexus system had become Earth's ally after humans helped them during a natural disaster. Now Nexus was in trouble again, under attack by pirates, and had called Earth for help. "I remember when we couldn't even leave our own atmosphere," Jin said. "And now we're sending ships to help aliens on the other side of the galaxy." June smiled. Times change. Their ships were now the envy of the galaxy. Every major world wanted vessels built by human engineers. What made human ships special was how they combined technologies from different alien cultures in ways no one else had thought of. The Confederation representatives are requesting another meeting, Jin mentioned. They want to discuss buying our new defense systems. June laughed softly. The irony never gets old. The same people who used to dump their trash on us now pay top price for what we build from that garbage. On a screen nearby, they could see the financial reports. Earth's economy was booming. The sale of ships and technology had made humans wealthy. Cities that had once been abandoned were now rebuilt and thriving. People had jobs, food, and hope, all because they had learned to use what others threw away. Who would have thought? Mused Jin, that humanity's salvation would come from being underestimated. June nodded. They saw us as scavengers. They never considered that picking through the pieces of greater civilizations would teach us more than they ever could have imagined. He remembered his early days in that small workshop, taking apart alien devices and trying to understand how they worked. Back then, he had just been curious. He never imagined his curiosity would change humanity's place in the universe. "Admiral," called an officer from across the room. "The Nexus government is sending updated information about the pirate attacks." "Put it on the main screen," Jun ordered. The screen showed a map of the Nexus system with red dots marking where pirate ships had been seen. There were more dots than expected. "This is worse than we thought," Jin said. "They'll need all the help we can give them." Jun studied the map. "Send a message to the fleet commander. Tell him to expect heavy resistance and to request backup if needed." As they watched, the 20 ships of Earth's fleet moved into their final formation. Light gathered around them as they prepared their jump drives, technology that humans had not only mastered but improved. "Jump in 10 seconds, announced the control room officer. Jun thought about how far humanity had come. From a broken world used as a garbage dump to a respected power that other species turned to for help. The journey had not been easy, but it had been worth every struggle. The ships disappeared in flashes of light, jumping to faster-than-light speed. They carried the best of human ingenuity, technology built from scraps but perfected through determination and creativity. "Safe journey," Jun whispered. Later that day, Jun visited the historical museum on the station. Inside was the very first scanner he had built to study alien garbage. It sat in a glass case with a sign that read, "The device that changed humanity's future." Next to it was a piece of the first ship humans had built using alien technology. And beyond that, photos showing Earth's transformation from junkyard to the technological center of this part of the galaxy. A group of children on a school trip gathered around Jun when they recognized him. "Admiral, is it true you were the first person to figure out alien technology?" one little girl asked. Jun smiled. "I was just the first to look at it differently. Instead of seeing garbage, I saw possibilities. And now we build the best ships in the galaxy," a boy said proudly. "Yes, we do," Jun agreed, "because we learned an important lesson. Never underestimate someone just because they seem less advanced than you. Everyone has something to teach, and everyone has something to learn." As he left the museum, Jun looked out once more at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth's ships were jumping to the aid of former enemies turned friends. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was helping to change it. From scavengers to saviors, from a junkyard planet to the heart of a new alliance, humans had found their place among the stars. And it all began because someone took the time to look at a piece of trash and see its hidden value.